picking up from my holiday video, which you saw last week. I went to get my car washed. I drew the guys. This was a family weekend last weekend. Kids playing football, and we were just mucking about drawing stuff, playing cricket, showing some of the kids how to draw things. They kind of took over my sketchbook. And last Monday I went to Cardiff in South Wales to a meeting about how to use Facebook. I know I shouldn't be talking about that on YouTube, should I? And this is the train journey there. I had a cup of coffee in John Lewis. This is the kind of room with all the windows they had there, and this is the stage where Facebook were doing their talk and one thing or another, and they gave me this brilliant idea. You can go and see my brilliant idea on Facebook here. It's called Shoo Rayner Sketchbook Stories. It's just sort of a whole lot of things suddenly came together with that kind of a ding, bright idea. Anyway, this is a brand new sketchbook, started July the 9th, and this is all I wrote on the 9th of July. So the 10th of July, a trip to Waddesdon Manor and supper in Aylesbury. So Waddesdon Manor is this amazing place owned by the Rothschilds. Well, it was National Trust now, anyway. And so we had lunch outside in the stables, so with this kind of tent kind of thing. This is my son. Ed contemplates his burger. I was just rather taken by the structure of the tent kind of things. And they had a Henry Moore exhibition there. And you may or may not know Henry Moore. He makes these, kind of things like this, lots of holes in. And I've always kind of thought, Henry Moore. And I knew he kind of did drawings, and I kind of looked at them in the past. But seeing this room full of drawings was a revelation to me. An inspiring quote written on the wall of the exhibition, written by Henry Moore, said, "Drawing, even for people who cannot draw, even for people not trying to produce a good drawing, it makes you look more intensely." And I think that's a really great thing to take away from that exhibition. Just look more intensely. That's what drawing is really all about. There were so many things going on. I think I might have to go back and have another look before it closes in October. I'll put a link here to the Waddesdon Manor website so you can go and see what that's about. But looking closely at his drawings was just amazing. And I just didn't have time because we were doing other things. It's very difficult doing sketchbook things when you're kind of with family, because you've got to kind of go with the flow. So I only had about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes in there, and I could have spent all day, honestly. We went into the house, and I was just, drawing rapidly things as we were going around. I was having to keep up with the pace of the rest of our family. There's a rather strange sort of elephant hat here. And these chandelier crystals hanging from the ceiling. And they, on one of the mantelpieces in the big dining room, they had these little mer children on the edge, sitting on the edge, holding up these candelabra sconces. And it's really weird, because normally a mermaid, their two legs kind of fuse, don't they, into a kind of a fishtail. But here, each leg had its own fishtail, like they were kind of flippers, which was a little bit weird. These were just a couple of quick sketches from characters in paintings. Here, this was a Reynolds of the Comic Muse, and this is the Pink Boy. And they had a very strange room there with lots of paintings of, it was kind of a Sleeping Beauty kind of thing. That must have been done in the 70s or early 80s, I should think. And we were discussing whether the cat had got the milk or something or other. There were various allegories going on, and there was and so somebody said, "Oh, I think if you kiss the cat, he'll turn into a princess." I said, "Not unless the raven gets in there first. I said, kiss my beak, and I'll turn into a prince." And then in one of the rooms there was a painting of Louis XVI. It was completely covered in rich robes, and we were having a big argument about whether the proportions were right, because his head looked so small, and I was saying no, it's absolutely right inside. It's just this ridiculous amount of clothes that he's been put on to make him look grand and masterful. And as I did this little sketch to show, this is the outline of the clothes and the way it kind of comes down from the neck, but if you look at the way the body is proportioned inside, it makes sense. And this little sketch, thinking of what those Waddesdon mermen must have looked like with these strange bifurcated fish legs. We went out to Italian restaurant, which was full of Polish waitresses. This was one of the waitresses here. And then this was something I had drawn at the time as well. So this is a curving kind of... It's the entrance to downstairs to the kitchens and the cellars and things like that. And so you can kind of walk past and not be offended by the, the plebs downstairs. And it's kind of beautiful to this point. And it's all a bit rough around the corner. And by curving it, you don't get to see what's going on if you have to go past it. But now, in fact, it's the way down to the National Trust laboratories and things like that. And this is an incredibly quick sketch in the back garden. I had... This is the trouble with going and trying to do this with family. I'm determined I'm not going to try doing this with family much anymore, because you just don't get the time. So I had kind of about 5-6 minutes to do that, I think. And I painted it later. This is sort of thinking about what are we going to eat at the Prezzo's, the place where we ate, and waitress was coming along, ta-da! So presenting the food. And then we were discussing, there was a little 19th century embroidery kind of thing that we saw at Waddesdon Manor. My daughter, who doesn't really look like this is a terrible drawing of her, works at Waddesdon Manor, so she knows everything intimately, and we were discussing some of the things there. And Mrs. Rayner and I were staying in Aylesbury, and when we got back, this is the theatre, which is kind of a glow, and it's kind of exploding, and so again I had sort of 5 minutes to draw that. So you don't get long in this business, you just got to get moving on. So the next morning we were in a Travelodge place, and it's quite nice actually. It kind of looks down on this old canal basin which they're redeveloping. So I got up slightly early and went down, and I got about 20 minutes to work on this one. And the swans had kept us up quacking all night. So anyway, this is waking up on the wedding day. My nephew Ben was getting married, and so we drove over there. And we were in St Dunstan's church, and the vicar got up and said, "Hello, my name is Mark Dunstan. This is my church." Did he get the church because of his name, or was he named after the church? Who knows? And we were sitting right behind the bridesmaids, so while they were signing the registry, I went and drew the back of one of the bridesmaids' hair, saying these are all kind of roses exploding out of... Actually, it was roses and thistles, because it was a marriage of England and Scotland. So we had a Scottish bride and an English bridegroom. And this is this is looking across onto the other side of the family. So this is this is the bride's side, and we were on the groom's side, and you sneak over to see what's their family like. This is always the interesting thing in weddings, is you get these two completely different families that have come together. And this is my Mrs. Rayner's great uncle Roger, who's a great character. He's always the first one to get up and dance, even though he's 87. And I didn't get everybody's names, I'm afraid, so I was just having little sketches and things at the wedding. So we had quite a few kilts. We had a ceilidh with lots of dancing, more kilts, boys playing croquet and things, and at that point I thought, this is ridiculous. I was trying to draw the bride and one thing and another, and you can't do it because everybody's just moving so fast, and also people are going to start coming up and having a look, and I don't know, you don't want to offend a new family, do you? So I thought, enough. But there was this strange thing I've not come across. Glasses would be tinkled, they'd start going ding, 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 and then everybody would join in, and the whole room would be tinkling, and you'd expecting someone to get up and make a speech, but in fact they were ting-tinging for a kiss, so the bride and groom had to sort of then give a kiss. I'd not come across that before. In the St Dunstan's church, I picked up these sycamore seeds, and it was a beautiful, really old, variegated sycamore. And St Dunstan's is interesting because it's the first church to be incorporated into the Church of England after the Reformation in Hunsdon was it Essex? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where. Hertfordshire. So So that was very interesting. And so the next day we went to Stowe Gardens, which is another National Trust property, and so we were having a cup of coffee when we got there. And this is the cafe, which has this extraordinary complicated structure in here, which I was drawing. It's all sort of held together with wires and braces and things like that. And so you can have a cup of coffee while you plan your route around the gardens, and you can go through different routes. You can go the route on the path of vice or virtue, and again, we were going off for a walk, so I didn't really have time to draw the things. But I took a little note of some of the clouds, and I was just sort of thinking, oh, that's interesting. It's more of a landscape, really, that's been moulded and shaped, and lots of trees and things. And it's all designed so that there are vistas that you can kind of see through, and there will be something interesting at the end, and these temples and columns like this. So we were joking about sort of King William ruled on top of the column, and he lived a very well balanced life and was said by all to be a good king. And he'd actually been stuck up there once he'd been thrown, and he had to stay up there forever while he kind of pointed things out and ruled the country. Seemed like a potential story there. And then they had this sort of row of I'm going to have to go and spend a whole day or two there, I think, one day, of heroes, great British, no, they weren't heroes, they're great British noteworthies, that's right. So there was Shakespeare and Milton, but looking over them all was this sort of Hermes sticking out of this really kind of weird hole. So it was rather strange structure on top. So that is the whole of my sketchbook so far, and when I got some more, I will show you. In the meantime, go over to Facebook and have a look at the last one I did and find out all about sketchbook stories. People always ask me what materials I use. Well, go and have a look at this video, and it explains everything I use, and I'll put links to materials down below. If you still want to do a drawing, try the mystery drawing, and click that logo and subscribe on YouTube for lots more drawing videos. Now you can support me by going onto Patreon, and you can get step-by-step sheets. So you get I'm doing drawing courses or assignments, all sorts of things on there. Go and have a look. And in the meantime, keep drawing, sketching, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye-bye.